Best Irish music on irishradio.org with Jerry Byrne.
I'm Jerry Byrne, Irish Radio it is. Now, since the onset of COVID, I've been speaking to many of the great and the talented and the good, and boy, some talent and great musical artists have come out of Ireland. My next guest is a gentleman who's had many, many huge successes and many huge hits. Songs such as The Way It's Love, The Way Love's Supposed to Be, The Village of Asti, African Lady, and numerous others. From Cork, I'm delighted to say hello to the one and only Tony Stevens. Tony, how are you?
Jerry, it's lovely to talk to you at long last.
At long last, indeed. Tony, listen, how did you start off in music?
Well, I suppose like everybody else in the music business, Jerry, I started off when I was going to school.
Okay.
And we had a band, a school band. And that's how it started off, Jerry.
Right, okay. And then you went on, I mean, as it went on after that, you had the incredibly successful, the Tony Stevens Band, when you had all those hits.
Yes, we had, I did a few song contests as well, Jerry. I Castlebar Song Contest, and I had a winning song by Brendan Graham on that song contest.
Right.
And also then I went to Australia, and did well over there with a song called Love Is the Answer, and a few more places like that. But we had a very successful song then called The Way Love's Supposed to Be, as you called out there just a minute ago. And that was in the British charts for 11 weeks. And it did really, truly very well. And a version of The Village of Asti was a huge success, Jerry, for us. And we were brought down to Asti, and we were made free men of Asti. But we had good hits, Jerry, and, things were going really and truly very well for us.
Indeed so. I mean, you had other songs which are also very successful. Like When We Were Young. You also did a recording of The Banks of My Own Lovely Lee, which went extremely well. Also, To All the Girls I Loved Before. That was also a successful one.
That's true. I can remember Tony Cassidy bringing that home when he was in Nashville. And as a matter of fact, Julio Iglesias and Willie Nelson were on the stage, and they sang the song. And Tony Cassidy had a tape recorder, and he taped the song. He got a flight back that night, rang me at 4 o'clock in the morning to be in Dublin for 12 o'clock, and the song was recorded within a day by Liam Hurley and the orchestra, and that turned out to be very successful for us.
Indeed.
The To All the Girls I've Loved Before, Jerry.
Yes.
And we had the Banks of My Own Lovely Lee. I did that with the Oireachtas Choir. This is the choir in the government. Tony Cassidy was involved in that, and a few more TDs, The Boys Above, and that was a very good version of the Banks, I thought, when we brought it out, Jerry. It did very well for us.
Indeed, so it certainly did. It was hugely, hugely successful, and I think it was because of the particular version that you did. I mean, the song, the song had been, recorded by so many people, but I think it was your actual recording and of it that really made it so successful.
Well, I think, Jerry, how that came about was we recorded it with strings and gave it a different version. Normally, it was a kind of an accordion sort of intro and a sort of an Irish swing to it, whereas we brought in the orchestra and had all strings and David Agnew on the oboe, and was a lovely version that Eamon Campbell produced for us.
Indeed.
And I think that's why it was a sort of a successful song, Jerry, and it's still doing very well. It's up on YouTube there, and there's a lot of hits on it, you know.
Indeed.
So we were lucky with that, the version that was done.
Indeed so. Now, another song which was very, very different in style, and you're the only one I'm actually aware of who has ever recorded it, is African Lady, a huge success.
Yes, that was a very, very good kind of a dance song, Jerry. You know, it has that kind of Green Bay dance sort of, you know, with the drums, with kind of an African style to it, Jerry. And I think that it turned out really, truly well, and people could dance. The very minute that you played that song, everybody was out on the floor and they were dancing around. You know, it was great. It was really, truly a good upbeat song.
Indeed so. Indeed so. Where did you actually get that song, Tony?
I just Tony Cassidy actually picked it up, and I don't know where he got it, but he's a good man at picking out songs and bringing them back. You know, but he picked it up. I don't know where if he picked it up in Nashville or not, Jerry. I'm not too sure.
Right. It certainly.
But he's a good man at picking up songs like what he did for Boston Allen there, you know, and P.R. Dallas. He's very good at it. And in all fairness, when he says he's going to do a song for you, he puts full backing onto it. He won't spare any money. That's what I love about Tony as well.
Indeed.
You get a good recording.
Indeed so. Tony, you were in full flight, and you had a very, very well publicised. I think you must have had hundreds of thousands of people praying, because it was actually a campaign after you had the road accident. There was a campaign of pray for Tony, for you to recover.
Jerry, and I tell you what, the prayers were answered. It was the 23rd of December '92, and we were up in Mayo, and we were doing a gig there. And on the way home, we got into a skid, and there was an articulated truck coming up the road, and none of us could get out of each other's way. So we just plowed straight in to the articulated truck. And that was, in one sense, the beginning of the end, as I always say to myself, because we had a video ready to be released, and there was a lot of things that what happened on that night. You could write a book about it, Jerry, because at around 4 o'clock in the morning, the accident happened, and I must say it was the Castlebar Fire Brigade that took us to the hospital. I went to Galway, and some of the lads I think might have been taken to Dublin. I'm not too sure, but when the accident happened, Jerry, imagine 4 o'clock back in '92, a guy pulled up in the car and he had a mobile phone. No, they were the big phones at that time, you know. But thanks to God, he had the phone. And 10 minutes after that, another car pulled up, and lo and behold, it was a doctor out on call to an elderly woman who had got a heart attack. And he came along, and just, early in the morning, terrible night, like the roads were icy and everything like that, freezing. And he came in through the back of the wagon, and he gave me an injection into the back. No, I wasn't awake for that. I was conked out somewhere along the line. But he gave me an injection because Val Crowley, the drummer, was up to inform me afterwards what had happened. And these kind of instances, they they sort of saved us in one sense, Jerry, because like it was horrific. Like I mean, all my bones were broken. I had a compound fracture in my right leg. My left leg was crushed, and I had ribs and 8 ribs broken. My leg, my arms were broken. A whole load, Jerry. So I was in the hospital then for nearly 2 years.
Yes, I remember.
So,
I remember that back then.
And all the prayers, I'd like to thank everybody that said all those prayers, because they definitely saved us.
Indeed, it was certainly one horrific one, and I remember actually the campaign sort of pray for Tony. It was truly incredible. I mean, it was I met people in the in the Galtymore. As it was going in London at the time, and they were saying about, pray for your recovery. And actually, I remember afterwards you being over in the Galtymore performing, and people were genuinely, absolutely thrilled to see you back on stage once again.
That's right. I was over the Irish World.
It was an awards night, possibly.
That's right, Jerry. I was given a Life Achievement Award, Jerry.
I think you may have done another appearance in the Galtymore as well.
I did, yeah. I did later on, actually, Jerry. I did another appearance. But that night, I actually did When We Were Young, I'm sure, Jerry.
Yes, you did, yes.
When I was there,
Yes, indeed.
And I always remember Bill Wyman from the Rolling Stones was there as well.
Yes. It was fantastic. I mean, so many people were so warmly happy to see you out and about and back in action. Once again after.
It was really and truly, it was fantastic, because they were so kind to me and good like that. Jerry, it was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it myself.
Indeed. So, but you continued performing. I mean, after that, you were back on the road, and you were performing and doing your musical work right up until COVID struck.
Oh, I was. Yeah, I was. We were. Once I got back, I was in the hospital for nearly 2 years, and then I was nearly 6 months sort of. Getting myself back together, Jerry, with physiotherapy.
Now, Tony, you were continually performing after you recovered from the car accident. You were back on the road and you were back in action right up until COVID struck.
That's true, Jerry, yes. I was, once I got out of hospital, Jerry, and I did my physiotherapy, once that was over, and I was kind of ready to go back. No, I wasn't able to do it, we say, as much as I wanted to, but we were doing, I continue on to do a couple of nights a week and do certain sort of concerts. And then we were playing right up until COVID. When the COVID started, we were just, overnight, Jerry, we were just off the road. Everything was closed down.
Indeed.
And the music business got the worst hit, I think, of all. Everybody up and down the country, everything is closed.
Indeed.
And it's just terrible, and, hopefully now we have a vaccine and that we'll get back and dancing will come back. And give it a bit of time, Jerry, I think it will come back. It won't be today or tomorrow, but we did this time next year. It'll be back fairly good.
Yes, indeed. I think it'll just take that little bit of time, because I think what we've all got to remember is that pandemics have come and gone in this crazy world before, and I don't think that we've ever been in a better situation as mankind in order to be able to deal with it.
Exactly. That's true. And I mean, this was something that we, when it came and when we realised the extent of it, and I mean the amount of people that died in this pandemic, Jerry, was just unreal altogether. so many people. And to the frontline workers, fair play to them. They're going night and day, to save lives. And great credit is due to them.
Indeed,
and
so.
They should be vaccinated straight away.
Indeed.
And as I was saying, Jerry, we will get back there.
Indeed.
We will get back.
Indeed so. It's hard to believe that it's all over the world, and it's every sort of thing of music, of the performing arts. It's from theatres to musicals to to the large concerts, small concerts. It doesn't matter what it is. Every single thing has stopped.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the funny thing about it, Jerry, is that the music industry and the arts, we were the most hit, I think, Jerry. It was just tremendous, and even when you look at it now today, we got people started just going streamlining, just to try and, not alone, just to make a couple of bob, but just to keep going on the music side. I haven't picked up a microphone since, Jerry. Well, I haven't.
Tony, you must miss, going out and performing and meeting people and singing.
Oh, Jerry, so much. It's unbelievable, because it's almost a year now since I sang, and the only time that I did any bit of singing was just in the house with just a microphone, and a singer needs to get out and kind of give this full blast, a couple of times a week. So I'll get back to it and get the voice warmed up again, and hopefully it will be all right, and there'll be no pandemic. And we'll get back to it, Jerry.
Indeed. Of course, you will. You'll be back. And actually, Tony, listen, congratulations on everything you've done, on all your success, and it's been a real pleasure to catch up with you finally. Well done on everything, all the hit songs and all the performances and everything else. And listen, I'm hoping to see you on a stage someplace along the way as soon as it's safe to do so.
Oh, without a doubt, Jerry. Definitely, that will have to be organised, that we'll meet up along the way, and that I'll be performing at the gig. And all I want to say, Jerry, is that I'd like to thank all your listeners for all the cards and prayers that they sent to me, and hopefully we'll get back and maybe be able to perform over in England again shortly. And that we'll have a good time. But Jerry, I'd like to thank you for all the support you've given me. I know you've played me a lot of times and mentioned me when I couldn't even hear you, because you were in England and I wasn't able to get the station here, but I'll be able to get you now online. But I'd like to thank you very much, Jerry, because fair play to you. You kept us all occupied, and you kept us in the listeners' ears. So thank you, Jerry.
Tony, a real pleasure. Listen, stay safe and stay well, Tony.
And Jerry, thank you very much indeed.